AITA for giving my parents a toy car, after they demanded a real one for their anniversary? My name is Emily Thompson. I work at a company in the Loop. It is not a luxury position, but it is enough for me to live on and pay for my things. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment in Wicker Park. I bought it with a mortgage after several years of saving for the down payment. It is an old building, nothing spectacular, but it is mine and I pay for it month by month. I put it together little by little. I bought simple furniture, put up some plants, a warm lamp in the living room, and some things I found when I could. It is not big, but it is quiet. After work, returning there slows down my pace. I have good friendships, friends who are actually there. Even if it is just to ask how I am doing and listen for a while. That is why, from the outside, my birthday should not hurt me so much, but with my family it was always different. My parents are named Patricia and Thomas Thompson. At that time they were 57 years old. They lived in the same house where I grew up in Naperville. About 45 minutes from my apartment, sometimes more depending on the time and traffic. And there was my younger brother, Justin. He was 27. He lived alone in a rented apartment. Nothing huge, but it was his space with his furniture and his separate life. Only my parents paid his rent. And not only that. When Justin got stuck, they also helped him with utilities, groceries, car repairs, or going out. Anything he asked for with that confidence of someone who already knows that in the end, they are going to say yes. For years I repeated to myself that it did not matter to me. I was already an adult. I did not need them to pay for anything, and it was true I did not need it. But it is one thing not to need money. And another to realize that in your family there always seems to be one standard for you and another for your brother. Before I turned 32, my parents had already forgotten my birthday 4 years in a row. I am not talking about arriving late or giving me an improvised gift. I am talking about nothing happening, not a call, not a message, not a happy birthday text, nothing. The first time I thought it had been an oversight. Everyone is busy with their own things, I told myself. Maybe they had a problem. Maybe the day just slipped by them. A few days passed and I called my mom. Mom, is everything okay? Yes, honey. Why? I took a deep breath. Because it was my birthday. There was an awkward silence. Then my mom reacted as if she had just remembered something serious. Oh, Emily, forgive me. We really have a mess with your dad's work, with the house, with 1,000 things. Slipped our minds. I promise you next year it will not happen. I wanted to believe her. The following year the same thing happened. When I mentioned it, the same apology returned. That she did not know how it had slipped their minds. That now they were going to write it down properly. That they were going to make it up to me. And so it continued. For years having dinner with friends, smiling, thanking them for gifts. And at the same time looking at my phone out of the corner of my eye. Waiting for at least a message from my mom. That did not happen with Justin. Justin never forgot my parents' birthdays. He would arrive with a gift, take photos and post them. My parents never forgot his either. They made him food, took him out to dinner, gave him money. There was always cake, photos and hugs. With me, somehow it slipped their minds. When my 32nd birthday approached, I decided to try one last time. Not with hints, but directly. 2 weeks before, I sent them a text message. Mom, I am going to have a dinner for my birthday on Saturday the 15th at 7 at a restaurant in Wicker Park. I would like you and Dad to be there. I sent a similar one to my dad and another to Justin. A week later, I wrote to them again in case they had seen the message and forgotten to answer. My mom replied, yes, we saw it, honey. We will see if we can, because your dad and I have work commitments. I read that and felt the same discomfort as always, but I went to my dinner anyway. I left early because parking in Wicker Park is always a problem. I arrived ahead of time, left the car with valet parking, and tried to focus on the people who had actually shown up. The night was good, really. There was delicious food, laughter, hugs. Nicole brought me a scarf she had seen with me weeks before. Other friends gave me books I had mentioned casually. They also gave me cards with beautiful messages. I had to go to the bathroom for a moment to breathe, because I did not want to cry at the table. But my family did not arrive, and the worst part was that it did not surprise me. My friends asked carefully, and your parents? I shrugged. They could not make it. No one insisted. At the end of the dinner, I returned to my apartment. I left the gifts on the table and sat on the couch still in my clothes. I kept looking at the cards for a long time. I felt gratitude for my friends, and at the same time that usual emptiness was not for the gifts, it was for a call for something minimal. That birthday was the 5th year in a row that my family let the date pass. That night I decided I was not going to keep waiting the same way. The following week at the office, my cell phone rang. I saw the screen. Mom. I kept looking at the name for a few seconds. I was about to not answer, but I answered, hello. Emily, honey, my mom sounded softer than normal. I wanted to talk to you. What happened? We looked really bad regarding your birthday. We did not go, we did not even call you, and I know that was awful. I stayed still, looking at the computer screen without reading anything. In 5 years she had never started like this. She had never said things so clearly. Yes, I replied. It was bad. I know. I want to fix it. Can you come to dinner on Saturday? I want to cook something for you and give you your gift. I did not know what to answer immediately. My mom had not cooked something for me with me in mind for years. And she did not usually talk about gifts either, much less after a birthday that had already passed. Cook for me? I asked. Yes, honey. I know it is late, but I want to do it right. Come over on Saturday around 6. I am going to prepare something you like. I said yes before thinking about it too much. Maybe I still wanted to believe that something could improve, or see if this time they were serious. Perfect, my mom said, relieved. We will wait for you. I hung up and stayed a while with the phone in my hand. I did not dare to take it as a sign. On Saturday, I left shortly after 5. The traffic was calm for a Saturday, so I arrived close to 6. I stayed a moment inside the car, breathed, and then rang the doorbell. My mom opened almost immediately. Emily, it is so good you came. She hugged me tighter than normal. It caught me off guard. My dad appeared behind her and gave me one of those side hugs that always come out a bit clumsy. Come in, he said. Dinner is almost ready. I walked in and the smell reached me from the kitchen. Lasagna. My mom was making lasagna. I stood there for a second. I loved lasagna when I was about 16 years old. I could happily eat it with bread and salad. But I had not eaten it in a long time because it felt heavy on my stomach. Now, between work stress and my schedule, I preferred lighter food. You made lasagna? I asked. Of course, my mom said proudly. And Caesar salad. I also bought bread at the bakery. I did not know what to say. It was true that I used to like all that, but that was before. It gave me a mix of tenderness and sadness because it was as if my mom remembered an old version of me and believed that was enough. I did not want to correct her. Thanks, Mom. How thoughtful. Justin was already sitting at the table with his cell phone in his hand. He barely looked up. Hi, Emily. Hi, Justin. He went back to the screen. My mom served huge portions. We sat down and for a few minutes it almost seemed like a normal family dinner. My dad cut the lasagna. And work? He asked. Good, very busy, but good. We are glad, my mom said. And really sorry about your birthday. We handled it very poorly. I nodded. Yes, we feel bad, my dad added. The food was tasty but heavy. The scene was also weighing on me. I did not know whether to lower my guard or wait to see what came next. Thanks for inviting me, I said, because it was the only thing I could say without lying too much. After dinner, my mom went to another room and returned with a wrapped box. She placed it in front of me, smiling. We picked out something for you. I unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a blue vase with a floral pattern. It looked like one of those decorations they sell at Target next to candles and frames. It was not horrible, but it had nothing to do with me either. It is pretty, I said. It goes perfectly with your wall, my mom said, satisfied. A laugh almost escaped me, but I held it back. I had changed my decor 3 years ago. I no longer had bold colors or decorations like that. My walls were white, simple, but they did not know that because they hardly ever came over. Because they did not ask, because they did not pay attention. Yes, I lied. Thank you. My dad nodded, although it was obvious he had not paid much attention to the vase. Justin was still on his phone. We want this to be a fresh start, my mom said. I would like us to be closer to see each other more. That would be nice, I replied. And a part of me wanted that to be true. We stayed chatting about random things. My dad told a long story about a neighbor's dog that had escaped and then returned on its own. The story was not going anywhere, but I laughed a little so as not to make him uncomfortable. Justin yawned several times. Around 9, my mom looked at me as if she had just remembered something. Hey, is it true that you got promoted? I almost choked on my water. How do you know that? Justin saw it on LinkedIn, she said. He mentioned to me that you updated your position. I looked at Justin. He did not even lift his face. Yes, they changed my position. And why did not you tell us? I did not think you would be very interested. My mom took my hand. Of course we are interested, honey. We want to hear about you. I looked at her. Then I looked at my dad. 5 years without remembering a basic date, 5 years without asking much. And now they wanted to know if I got a raise. Yes, I spoke, measuring my words. But it is not like I became rich either. I am barely organizing my payments in the apartment mortgage. But how proud, my mom said. You have always been a very hard worker. Justin lifted his head. Good for you, he said, without much enthusiasm. I left around 10. My mom hugged me again at the door. Let us not let so much time pass, she said. I will call you next week. Okay, Mom. I drove back with the vase in the passenger seat. I did not feel happy nor angry, rather confused. That dinner, those questions, and that interest in my work did not resemble how things were before. When I got to my apartment, I kept the vase in the closet behind some old jackets. I did not throw it away, but I was not going to put it in the living room either. For almost a month, my mom started calling me often. She would ask how I was, what I had eaten, if I was resting. She even invited me to go shopping one Sunday at the mall, something that had not happened for years. Sometimes I accepted. I wanted to understand what was going on. First, I thought maybe they felt ashamed. Later I noticed that the calls always ended up around the same topic. That everything was very expensive, that my dad's car was already causing trouble. The monthly payments, that Justin was tight on money, that they had already given a lot for the family. I listened and answered little. After several weeks like this, my mom invited me to another dinner. This time it was simpler. Coffee, pastries, a chat at the kitchen table, and then the topic came up. Hey, she said, as if it had just occurred to her. Your dad and I are having our anniversary in 2 weeks, 35 years of marriage. Oh yes. Congratulations. We are going to celebrate it at a restaurant, something nice with the family, neighbors, longtime friends. Not a huge party, but something well done. That is great. My mom stirred her coffee with the little spoon. Several people want to bring us a little something. You know that for an anniversary like this, people ask, what do you need? I nodded. Aunt Karen said she is going to bring us some good kitchen towels. Uncle Mark talked about a coffee maker. Cousin Ashley wants to bring a picture frame. The neighbors said some candles. That is great. And we asked Justin for a TV. I looked up. A TV? Yes, a 50-inch one. We told him that would help us a lot. I stayed quiet. My mom smiled slightly, as if she were reaching the important part. And with you, we wanted to see about something else. What thing? Your dad and I have been thinking about changing the car. There I began to understand the change better. Changing the car, I repeated. Yes, your dad's is getting old. We are already afraid to take it on long drives. And with the anniversary, we thought it would be nice if you helped us. Help you? How? My mom lowered her voice a bit. We are not telling you to pay it all at once. But you could help us with the down payment or take out the loan in your name. We would figure out how to pay you back little by little. I just looked at her. Mom, that is a lot of money. We know, honey. But you are doing better at work, and it is something for your parents for an important date. How much are you talking about? We are still looking. Your dad has one in mind, safe, comfortable, not luxury. How much? My mom hesitated. Almost $45,000. I laughed softly without humor. That is not a little. Do not act like that. We just want to see if you can support us. You have always been very organized with your money. For a second I wanted to tell her everything right there. The birthdays, the dinner they did not go to, the vase. The way they remembered me when they found out about the promotion, but I did not want to argue in her kitchen. Let me see what I can do, I said. My mom smiled immediately, as if she had heard a yes. Oh, Emily, really, thank you. I did not say yes. Sure, you review it. But from that moment I knew she was telling it differently. The next day she started sending me pictures of cars via text, models, colors, versions, as if I had already accepted. I answered little. I am looking at it. Let me review. It is expensive. We will talk later. In the end, she sent me a photo of a new car worth almost $45,000. It was not a luxury car, but it was way beyond reasonable for me. Below she wrote, "Your dad and I really like this one. It would be perfect." I stared at the screen for a while. A car like that was an absurd debt for me. I had a better salary than before, yes, but also a mortgage, utilities, expenses, and a life that I was paying for all by myself. I will keep it in mind, I replied and left the phone face down. I did not know yet how I was going to say it. I only knew that I was not going to sign a loan or give them a down payment that would leave me shaking. The day of the anniversary arrived. My mom had always cared a lot about appearances. If she could turn something into a family announcement, she would. That is why I left my apartment feeling anxious. I brought a small envelope with money. It was not for a car, it was a simple gift, what I could give without messing up my payments. I left early because on Saturday the traffic can be unpredictable, and in restaurant areas parking is always a problem. The event was in a restaurant with a private room for family meals, live music, large tables, and valet parking at the entrance. I arrived shortly after 7. My mom saw me from afar and walked quickly towards me. She was wearing an elegant dress, heavier makeup than usual, and a huge smile. "Emily, you made it," she said, taking me by the arm. Come. She took me to my dad, who was talking to some men. "Everyone. This is my daughter Emily Thompson," my mom said loudly, as if she were introducing me to people who did not know me. Several people smiled. I recognized Aunt Karen, Uncle Mark, Cousin Ashley, and some neighbors from when I lived in Naperville. "Look how grown up you are," a lady told me, even though I was already over 30. I smiled politely. "Thank you." Justin was near the bar in a suit and looking bored. He had his phone in his hand as always. He greeted me with a nod. It did not take long for my mom to start showing off the gifts. She went from table to table. "Look what Aunt Karen brought us," she said, holding up the kitchen towels. "And Uncle Mark gave us this coffee maker. It is beautiful." The picture frame had its moment. The candles too. Then it was Justin's turn. "And Justin brought us a 50-inch TV," my mom announced. Justin raised his glass and barely smiled. I did not say anything. I thought about how much of that TV he had paid for and how much had come from my parents again. My mom glanced out of the corner of her eye at the envelope I was carrying. Every few minutes she would turn around waiting. I did not intend to say anything in front of everyone. If she had left the matter alone, I would have given her the envelope in private. But my mom did not know how to stay quiet when she wanted to show off. After showing everything else, she raised her voice. "And Emily also brought us something very special," she said, so the nearby tables could hear her. I felt several eyes on me. My mom continued, "She is going to help us with the car." She did not say that I had bought it, but she insinuated it enough. Someone asked, "New car?" Aunt Karen looked at me surprised. Uncle Mark left his glass on the table. I stood still with the envelope in my hand. My mom held out her hand. "Come on, honey. Give it to your dad." The room did not fall silent, but there was that uncomfortable pause where people lower their voices to hear better. I handed over the envelope. My dad opened it. Inside was $100. Nothing more. My mom stopped smiling. "What is this?" she asked in a low voice. My dad looked at the money and then looked at me. His face turned red. "It is what I can give you," I said. "Emily," my mom said, squeezing the envelope, "do not do this here." I did not want to do it here, But you just said in front of everyone that I was going to help you with a car, and that is not true. People began to get uncomfortable. Some pretended to check their phones, others looked toward the music. No one knew whether to intervene or pretend not to hear. My dad lowered his voice. Do not put us on display. Then do not say things that are not true. My mom moved a little closer. You told us you were going to see what you could do. And this is what I can do. I am not going to take out a loan or go into debt for a car. We are your parents, she said. We are not asking you for something for a stranger. I know, but that does not change what I can afford. This is not about money, my dad said. Yes, it is about money. Otherwise, we would not be talking about a car worth almost $45,000. My mom looked around nervously. Are you exaggerating? No. I told you I was going to look into it, not yes. And before that, years went by without you remembering my birthday. This year I warned you twice and you still did not go. My mom pursed her lips. That has nothing to do with it for me. Yes, it does. My dad tried to cut the conversation. That is enough. We will talk later. No, because later it gets told differently. I did not say it yelling. I did not even raise my voice much, but several people were already listening. I did not come to fight, I continued. I came because I was invited. I brought a simple gift because it is what I can give. The rest you assumed. My mom tried to smile as if she could still fix it. She is upset about her birthday, she said to the others. Lately she has been very sensitive, she is even seeing a therapist. That hurt me more than many other things. Not because it was true or a lie, but because she tried to use it to make me look unstable. Aunt Karen stood up slowly. Patricia, do not do that. My mom looked at her offended. What? You do not say that. Uncle Mark spoke without moving from his spot. Thomas, just leave it there. My dad stood stiff with a red face. Justin put his phone in his suit pocket. He looked at the envelope, then at me. I did not know they had asked you for that, he muttered. I did not answer him. I did not want to fight with him there. Some guests got up to go to the bathroom or to smoke. Others stayed at their tables uncomfortable. The music kept playing, but no one was comfortable near us anymore. My mom tried to regain control. It is a misunderstanding, she said. Emily misunderstood. I did not invent anything, I replied. I saw Cousin Ashley grab her purse and walk over to my aunt. The neighbors were talking in low voices. Someone asked for the check for their table. My mom tried to stop some relatives. Please do not leave. We are going to eat soon. But the night had already twisted. I took a breath. I did not come to ruin anything for you. But I am not going to let you say I promised something I never promised. My mom looked at me with anger. Look what you did. I was not the one who announced a car. I left the envelope on the table. I looked at the few people who were still close by. Sorry for the moment, it was not against you. Then I turned around and left. I drove back to my apartment with my hands firmly on the steering wheel. I did not feel good, just tired. Like when you finally say something you had been swallowing for years. When I arrived, I took off my shoes, poured myself a glass of wine and sat on the couch. I did not cry. That surprised me. I sat there in silence, listening to the distant noise of the cars. For the first time in a long time, I was not thinking about how to fix their anger. I was just there in my house. Hours later, the cell phone started. First my mom, then my dad, then Justin. Calls one after another. Then the messages arrived. You put us on display. You ruined everything. What an embarrassment. You do not do that to your parents. I read them without answering. Some I deleted, others I left there just to remind myself not to respond out of guilt. The next day Aunt Karen called me. Emily, she told me with a tired voice. How are you? I do not know. Tired. I imagine. There was a silence. After you left, your mom kept saying that you were wrong, that you were making things up. I closed my eyes. And did they believe her? Not like she wanted. Uncle Mark told her that we had all seen that she brought up the car topic. Others stayed quiet. But you know how those silences are. Yes. In the end, a lot of food was left over. People started leaving little by little. Not everyone, but several did. I let out a short, weird laugh, not out of joy. Poor waiters, my aunt said. Yes, I replied. Poor them. My aunt sighed. I am not going to tell you it was right because it was uncomfortable, but what they did to you was not right either. Thanks for saying that. You do not have to thank me for that. After that call, my family started moving around in the family group chats. I left 2 of them and stayed in another, but muted it. Someone uploaded photos of the anniversary and then the comments got weird. No one said things straight, but you could tell everyone already knew. My mom could not stand that. A couple of weeks later, she showed up at my building. The doorman let me know my mom was downstairs. I hesitated for a moment, but told him to let her up. She knocked hard. With that confidence of someone who believes they can still get in anywhere if they get angry enough. I opened the door but stayed in the frame. She came with a hard face. You ruined our reputation, she said as soon as she saw me. Now everyone thinks we are bad parents. I looked at her without moving. I did not invent what happened, Mom. Of course you did. You put on that show in front of everyone. You talked about the car in front of everyone because you gave us to understand that yes. I told you I was going to see what I could do. I never said I was going to sign a loan. My mom pursed her lips. I want you to post something in the family group chat. Say it was a misunderstanding, that you were upset and exaggerated. No, I am not going to do it. Then do not count on us. The phrase hit me, but not like before. Before, it would have hurt me so much that I would have started explaining, asking for calm, trying to fix it. Not today, Mom. I have been taking care of myself for a while. My mom stayed silent for a few seconds. How ungrateful you are. I am not going to argue. You are going to need us someday. Maybe, but not like this. She turned around furiously and walked down the hallway. I closed the door and leaned against it for a moment, breathing. It was not a nice feeling. Setting a boundary almost never feels nice. At first it feels weird, as if one is doing something wrong, even knowing that things cannot continue the same way. After that, I did not speak with any of the 3. Justin sent me a message a few days later. He said I had exaggerated, that my parents were older, that a car was maybe too much, but there was no need to humiliate them. He also said it would not cost me anything to be more mature. I read it twice. I did not answer. My dad left me an audio message. I did not listen to it completely. I managed to hear him say that I had disappointed my mother, that family is not treated like that, that one day I would regret it. I deleted it. My mom kept sending messages for a while, sometimes angry, sometimes hurt, sometimes speaking as if nothing had happened. Your dad is sick from anger. Justin says he does not want problems. You could come on Sunday and we can talk. Stop making drama. I did not answer. First it was hard. I will not lie. There were nights when I felt guilty. I thought about my mom sitting in her house, my dad quiet, Justin stepping aside as always. And a part of me wanted to go back, even if it was to lower the tension. But then I remembered the birthdays, the dinner, the vase, the car. The way my mom used the therapy thing to make everyone doubt me, and it went away. Over time, the silence began to weigh less. I kept working, I kept paying for my apartment, I kept seeing my friends. I went to therapy, yes, and I say it without shame. It helped me stop justifying things that were hurting me. Last month I turned 33. I celebrated it with my friends in a simple place near my house. There was nothing huge. We had dinner, laughed, cut a chocolate cake that Nicole bought because she knows I do like that one. This time they gave me a plant, a nice notebook, and a jacket I had seen weeks before and did not even remember mentioning. No one made speeches, no one asked me for anything. No one used my birthday to collect something later. That night I left my cell phone on the table and did not check it. I knew my parents were not going to write. Neither was Justin. And for the first time that did not break me inside. It made me sad. Yes, it would be a lie to say it did not, but it no longer dragged me to the same place. When I returned to my apartment, I put away the gifts, placed the plant by the window, and stayed a while looking at my living room. It was my space with my debt, my simple furniture, and my things. Then I opened the closet to hang the new jacket and saw the blue vase. It was still there behind some old jackets. I took it out for a moment. I looked at it calmly. It no longer gave me rage nor nostalgia. I saw it and understood why I had never put it in the living room. It had nothing to do with me. I wrapped it again, but this time I did not put it back in the closet. I put it in a bag next to the door to donate it. I do not know if I will ever speak to them again. I do not rule it out, but it would have to be different. Not with just a dinner. Not with a quick apology and then another demand. For now my life is peaceful. It is not perfect, but it is peaceful. And for now that is enough for me. Yeah. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.